Charlize Theron's career is a testament to transformation, physical, emotional, and cultural. She has played assassins, revolutionaries, wicked queens, and grieving mothers. She has produced Oscar-winning stories and used her platform to champion women's rights, LGBTQ equality, and African outreach. Most recently, she returns to her immortal warrior Andy in The Old Guard 2, a sequel that pivots on the uneasy reunion between Andy and her once-betrayed partner, Quynh. Rumors swirl that Quynh will emerge not simply as an antagonist, but as a tragic foil whose pain distorts centuries-old loyalty into near apocalypse. The discourse around that twist is pure Charlize territory. Moral gray zones, layered motivations, violent catharsis, fitting for an artist whose life has never followed a straight line. She was born on August 7, 1975, in Benoni, a dusty mining town outside Johannesburg, South Africa. Her childhood was far from the red carpets she'd later grace. The only child of Gerda and Charles Theron, Charlize spent days roaming the family farm, speaking Afrikaans at home, and learning English from television. Her father, a heavy drinker, was unpredictable and often violent. One June night in 1991, he threatened Charlize and her mother with a shotgun. Gerda shot him in self-defense. The courts ruled it a justifiable homicide. Charlize, then 15, watched life split into a before and an after. She has since called that trauma a shaping scar, an early lesson in survival and empathy that continues to fuel her most haunted roles. Ballet was her first love. She studied at the National School of the Arts in Johannesburg, dreaming of dancing Swan Lake in Paris. A modeling contest at 16 whisked her to Milan. From there, she traveled to New York on a one-year contract. Modeling, however, felt hollow, and a knee injury at 19 crushed her ballet future. Broken adrift, she flew to Los Angeles with a one-way ticket, determined to try acting. Legend says she was discovered during a meltdown at a bank on Hollywood Boulevard, yelling at a teller who refused to cash a South African check, when talent manager John Crosby handed her his card. Whether myth or truth, it fits the narrative. Charlize's breakthroughs often arrive at moments of crisis. Early auditions yielded small parts, but she refused to let a thick accent typecast her. She practiced American vowels by watching soap operas, repeating dialogue until her roommates begged for quiet. Minor roles in films like 2 Days in the Valley revealed a statuesque blonde whose looks recalled classic starlets, but Charlize itched to prove substance beneath glamour. In 1997's The Devil's Advocate, she held her own opposite Al Pacino and Keanu Reeves, portraying a woman unraveling under supernatural manipulation. Audiences noticed her vulnerability, the way terror flickered across her eyes with no vanity buffer. Still, true seismic shift arrived with Monster in 2003. Charlize dove into the real-life serial killer Aileen Wuornos, gaining 30 pounds, wearing dental prosthetics, and bearing her beauty under weathered skin. It wasn't mere transformation for shock. She channeled Wuornos's rage, sorrow, and humanity with heartbreaking nuance. At the Oscars, a tearful Charlize accepted Best Actress, thanking her mother for teaching her courage and survival. Overnight, she shifted Hollywood's perception of what a leading woman could tackle: brutal, ugly, unsympathetic, yet undeniably human. The Oscar did not lure her into complacent prestige vehicles. Instead, she alternated between art house fare and mainstream spectacles. In North Country, she portrayed a minor who sues over sexual harassment, earning another Oscar nomination. In Arrested Development, she spoofed spy thrillers. She voiced Megamind's comic foil and lent gravitas to animated Kubo. She produced projects highlighting overlooked voices: The Burning Plain for Latin American narratives, East of Havana for Cuban hip-hop. Off-screen, she established the Charlize Theron Africa Outreach Project in 2007 to fight HIV/AIDS among African youth, leveraging her global profile to secure funding and educate communities. She traveled to remote villages, conversed in Afrikaans with health workers, and insisted on evidence-based strategies over photo-op charity. Her activism later expanded to gender-based violence, echoing early trauma but channeled into systemic change. By the mid-2010s, Theron reinvented herself again, this time as an action icon. In Mad Max: Fury Road, she shaved her head, strapped a prosthetic arm, and embodied Imperator Furiosa, a warrior smuggling enslaved brides across a hellish desert. The role transcended genre, fusing feminist rebellion with blockbuster adrenaline. She performed her own stunts, enduring desert dust storms and Tom Hardy's method intensity, crafting a character as iconic as Max himself. Fury Road won 6 Oscars and cemented Charlize's status as a multi-genre powerhouse. Theron's action era continued with Atomic Blonde, a neon-soaked spy thriller where she executed long-take fight scenes on concrete stairwells, sustaining cracked ribs but refusing stunt doubles. She produced the film, demanding equal pay and creative control, setting a precedent for actresses who negotiate franchise leads. Long Shot followed, a romantic comedy where she played a U.S. Secretary of State, deftly balancing slapstick and sincerity opposite Seth Rogen. Then came The Old Guard in 2020, a Netflix film about immortal mercenaries grappling with eternal fatigue and modern geopolitics. As Andy, an ancient warrior disillusioned by human cruelty, Charlize fused hardened stoicism with buried grief. Audiences resonated with her portrayal of aging pain wrapped in unbreakable muscle. The film's success prompted a sequel, and rumors swirled about Quynh, Andy's centuries-old partner, lost beneath the sea for years, returning with vengeance. Set leaks suggest Quynh, traumatized by endless drowning, channels her anguish into a morally ambiguous crusade against humanity, forcing Andy to confront guilt and love twisted into violence. This antagonist foil dynamic echoes Charlize's career-long fascination with blurred morality. Villains shaped by victimhood, heroes marred by past sins. Amid filming, gossip broke that Charlize would serve only as producer for slightly fewer action sequences, passing heavy stunt focus to new cast while deepening Andy's emotional arc. That pivot aligns with her broader trajectory. At nearly 50, she advocates for longevity roles that embrace women's evolving strengths rather than clinging to youthful extremes. She trains with stunt coordinator Daniel Hernandez, emphasizing functional movement over spectacle, mindful of injuries accrued from years of punishing choreography. Beyond film, Theron steps into television production. She executive produced Mindhunter and the upcoming drama about South African female freedom fighters, selecting stories that probe power and identity. She mentors emerging filmmakers through a fellowship for women of color, insisting Hollywood's gatekeeping be dismantled, not with platitudes but budgets. Her private life, while guarded, mirrors her convictions. She adopted 2 daughters, Jackson and August, prioritizing motherhood amid global travel. When Jackson expressed she is transgender, Charlize publicly affirmed her daughter's identity, challenging conservative backlash and calling for empathy. At red carpet interviews, she deflects romance rumors, stating she is satisfied with chosen family and purpose-driven partnerships. Charlize's production company, Denver and Delilah, named after her 2 late dogs, signals loyalty to both personal history and brand independence. Through it, she co-produced Bombshell, dramatizing the Fox News sexual harassment scandal. Playing Megyn Kelly, she underwent hours of prosthetics and captured the anchor's precise cadence, seeking not to glorify but to dissect systemic misogyny. As The Old Guard 2 heads to post-production, speculation mounts over Charlize's next pivot. Insiders whisper about a directorial debut, an Afrikaans language thriller set during apartheid's final days, exploring generational trauma through a mother-daughter lens. She is also attached to star in a space exploration epic by Denis Villeneuve, rumored to depict first contact diplomacy led by a linguist haunted by Earth's colonial past, again threading politics with personal grief. Through awards, injuries, controversies, and activism, Charlize Theron's through-line remains transformation in service of truth. She starved herself to convey addiction in the road, donned prosthetics to expose toxic beauty standards in Snow White and The Huntsman, and embraced comedic awkwardness to critique political optics in Long Shot. In interviews, she credits her mother's tough love. Gerda taught her to shoot for self-defense and to speak bluntly against injustice. While Hollywood often exiles actresses past 40 to supporting roles, Theron has rewritten that script. She demands back-end points, picks scripts that scare her, and lobbies studios for on-set childcare. She believes longevity arises from reinvention, her shifting action persona, comedic timing, dramatic gravitas, and producer acumen form a blueprint for the modern multi-hyphenate. Yet she rejects perfection narratives. She discusses therapy openly, admits nights of doubt, and jokes about cringe auditions. During COVID lockdowns, she live-streamed dance parties with her daughters, reminding fans that icons can wear pajamas and messy buns too. That authenticity strengthens her brand more than any marketing campaign. Critics occasionally question her South African accent's occasional slip or her portrayal of controversial figures, but Charlize meets critique with research and collaboration. For Bombshell, she consulted sexual harassment survivors. For Tully, she spoke with postpartum depression specialists. For Old Guard's sequel, she sat with combat veterans to portray battle fatigue, ensuring fantasy anchored in human truth. Looking ahead, The Old Guard 2 positions Charlize at another crossroads. Balancing physicality with introspection, franchise thrill with existential weight. The film's exploration of Quynn's potential villainy offers commentary on trauma's corrosive force, mirroring Charlize's lifelong examination of violence and survival. Whether Quynh is redeemed or destroyed, the narrative will hinge on Andy's accountability, an echo of Charlize's own ethos. Face past demons, fight for better futures. As the credits prepare to roll on her fifth cinematic decade, Charlize Theron remains an evolving force. From a teenage immigrant facing domestic tragedy to an Oscar-winning producer, from ballet dreams dashed by injury to forging new paradigms for women in action cinema, her journey embodies resilience. She has turned personal pain into empathetic art, industry barriers into platforms for others, and furious commitment into unforgettable characters. When asked what still scares her, Charlize once said, "Staying still." That restlessness, coupled with discipline learned from early hardship, assures that her next chapters will defy predictability. Perhaps she will direct. Perhaps she will front a limited series exploring South African history. Perhaps she will retreat briefly, then reappear as another icon who shatters expectations. But one certainty endures. Charlize Theron will keep shape-shifting, flipping stereotypes on their heads, and reminding audiences worldwide that storytelling, at its best, holds a mirror to our deepest fears and fiercest hopes. Just as Andy's immortal heartbreak does, just as Charlize herself always has.